The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John.
Glory to you, O Lord.
When Jesus had washed the disciples' feet, he said to them, "Amen, amen, I say to you, no slave is greater than his master, nor any messenger greater than the one who sent him. If you understand this, blessed are you if you do it. I am not speaking of all of you. I know those whom I have chosen. But so that the scriptures might be fulfilled, the one who ate my food has raised his heel against me. From now on, I am telling you before it happens, so that when it happens, you may believe that I am. Amen, amen, I say to you, whoever receives the one I send receives me, and whoever receives me receives the one who sent me." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
St Anselm, whom we're celebrating today, a monk, an abbot, an international traveler, and a bishop, and a doctor of the church. One of those specifically recognized as being a really, really great teacher, having something to share even with us 10 centuries later. He lived at that particular moment in time, just about halfway between the time of Jesus and our own time. A lot of things were happening in those days. And Anselm, who was sort of in between the French lands and the Italian lands, also ended up, as part of his life, as the Archbishop of Canterbury in England. So he got around. He is equally recognized as a great proponent and, you might say, defender of religious liberty. And perhaps in this day and age, that would be an important thing to call on him for as an intercessor, for how we really relate to the governing powers of the world in a way that protects the integrity of the church, but at the same time recognizes the authority of the worldly governing powers. We're still struggling with how we do that. And guess what? We've been struggling throughout all ages. And in Anselm's time, he really had to struggle against the king, who sought to usurp the church's rights and authority and basically make God's people simply to be his servants. And he was fairly successful in doing that, but it was an ongoing struggle. But the other struggle was in his own seeking to understand who God is and how God relates to me, to us. And in doing this, he formulated 5 so-called proofs for the existence of God. Now, personally, I do not believe that God's existence can be proven. You can demonstrate God's existence to those who already believe. But there are those who believe in the forces of chance and nothingness rather than God. Well, that's another form of faith. So you have faith either in God or you have faith in non-God. But to prove either one, you're never going to prove it. One side's never going to prove it to the other. So what do? Well, he said, well, he tried to prove for those who have faith the existence of God. The important thing that he said was, and this was his motto, theology is faith-seeking understanding. So in other words, the lesson for us is that we begin with faith. And Jesus taught us what kind of faith we must have. And that is the faith that imitates himself, Jesus. The faith that puts us at the service of one another as he, the Son of God, put himself at our service. So faith truly exists only if it unfolds itself into action of service for others. Now, once we are on that journey of faith, which is shown in service of others, then we can seek understanding. Then we can begin to learn from the Jesus and learn from God himself the mysterious depths of this love that results from faith. I often say, and this is my last point, that heaven has to be eternal, because we can only begin to understand this immense, infinite love of God if there is no end to it. Heaven will be an infinite, eternal exploration of the love that God has for us. And I think we can thank Anselm, among many others, for being kind of the one that helps to give us a little insight into that great mystery.